we're already looking ahead to next year. It is loaded. Loaded. A couple of Boston Bruins headlining the list. Zdeno Chara, Joe Thornton, Carey Price, Duncan Keith, Ryan Getzlaf, Eric Stahl, Tuukka Rask. A lot of big names that could potentially be getting the call to the Hall. So it's appropriate that we chat with our Director of Scouting, Craig Button, about this. Craig, now that the 2024 class is settled, we look ahead to next year. Who in your mind, as you look ahead to that list, is an absolute lock to get in next year?
Yeah, I think when we use the term automatic lock, I think there's four players. It's Chara, it's Price, it's Thornton, and it's Keith. And, you know, you get different cohorts that come up for eligibility for the Hockey Hall of Fame, and it's clear cut, in my view, that those four players should be automatic in their first year of eligibility. Everything they did. It doesn't matter which player you look at, they dominated their position. They dominated different areas of the game for long stretches of time. They won major awards. They were big-time players. When you think about the Hall of Fame is about excellence. And those four players embody it. And certainly, there's other players. I mean, Eric Stahl, I think, is a Hall of Famer. I think that Ryan Getzlaf is a Hall of Famer. I don't think there's any question. It's just that their time isn't going to be next year, because in this type of a situation with this cohort, you got four automatics. And when that happens, you just have to wait a little while before your name is called for the Hall of Fame. But to me, I mean, I think their work is already done for the four male players going into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2025, in my view, Jay.
Okay, let's talk about the action on Monday in the NHL, beginning with the Montreal Canadiens, who snapped that 6-game losing streak with a 7-5 win over the Sabres. Craig, where are you with the Habs and their rebuild at this point of the season?
So, Jay, I'm going to ask you this question back to you. Like, when you ask, where am I? You know, like, I'm in the same place I was at the beginning of the year. They've been a bottom 5 team. They got a whole slew of young players in their lineup. They have an outstanding prospect pool. But they're kids. They're young. They're immature. They're not ready to win. To me, their goal should be and should remain being moving from a bottom 8 team into the next tier of 8. I don't know if that's 21. I don't know if that's 23. I don't know if it's 19. This team isn't close to being a playoff team. They weren't close to being a playoff team at the beginning of the season. They weren't close to being a playoff team if Patrick Laine didn't get hurt. This is about taking steps. Meaningful steps. And sometimes those steps are going to be a little bit smaller. Sometimes you're going to take steps backward. But this is about growth, and this is about understanding where you're at with a young group of players, and then trying to help them move forward. That's what Marty St. Louis is doing. I don't think that Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon have any illusions about where they're at. But at the end of it, it's not about a 7-5 win versus the Buffalo Sabres. It's about measuring it in terms of progress. If they can get into that next group of 8 players, that to me is significant progress. Playoffs, not happening.
Craig, you know as well as I do that Craig Conroy took a big risk this season in saying, Dustin Wolf is my guy. I'm going to have him split time, and we're going to see where it goes. And, man, did he ever look terrific on Monday night against the LA Kings. Came so close to his first ever NHL shutout. From what you've seen from Dustin Wolf so far, Craig, I guess my question is, has he emerged in your mind as Calgary's #1 option in goal?
No, he hasn't emerged as the #1 goaltender. And I'm going to disagree with you, Jay. I don't think Craig Conroy took a big risk at all with Dustin Wolf. Dustin Wolf, for the past 5 years, has been the best goaltender in the league he's played in. He was the American Hockey League MVP a couple years ago. The Calgary Flames know exactly what they have. The situation with Jacob Markstrom unfolded, and knowing that they had Dustin Wolf, Dan Vladar has played very well this year. The perfect situation for Dustin Wolf is to be able to be in a tandem, to work through it. He's going to have some bumps along the road. He's going to have some great ups. This is a very talented goaltender and a very talented player that the Flames know full well what they have in him. But it's not about thrusting him into the front line and making him the #1 and putting a stake in the ground. He's going to find his way there. Of that, I have no doubt. But that time isn't right now. Let him keep growing. Let him keep finding his way, finding that confidence. As good as he's been for the 5 years preceding this year in the other leagues outside the NHL, The NHL is going to humble you at times, and you want to keep your players into a position where they can continue to grow without feeling beat up. And that's what the Calgary Flames are doing with their young players, which includes Dustin Wolf. But in my view, Jay, I don't think it's a stretch. In fact, I have no doubt that he will be the #1 goaltender for the Flames in the years to come. But that time isn't now.
Okay, fair enough. I love it. Craig, Flames will be back in action Tuesday in Vancouver. Always appreciate you, Craig.